It's Women's History Month, and at Wikimedia UK, we're celebrating the great women and initiatives that are closing the gender gap on Wikipedia and its sister projects. Subscribe to see interviews every Monday and follow the links in the description for ways to get involved. This week, we're joined by Dr. Alice White. Alice trains people who usually have little or no experience of editing Wikipedia.
I'm Alice White, and I'm the Wikimedian in residence at Wellcome Collection, which is a museum and library based in London.
How is your project tackling the gender gap on Wikipedia and its sister projects?
So the residency is bigger than an individual project. We've been really fortunate to intersect with lots of the other projects going on and some of the other speakers that have been answering these questions and talking about their work this month. I've had the pleasure to work with them to reduce the gender gap, but throughout the residency there have been lots and lots of opportunities to look at the way that we can increase the representation of women working in different fields, make sure that different kinds of research that's conducted by women and other underrepresented groups is more visible, and just generally think about how we can boost the presence of underrepresented people, past and present, in lots of different ways. Because Wellcome is so connected with health. A lot of it is to do with healthcare. So we've done lots around nursing and medicine, healthcare research. But it's gone much further than that as well, because people have been really interested in the work on diversity. That's really the exciting thing about a residency, is that things begin to snowball, and once you've made one connection and seen one opportunity to do work, more arise out of that. So that's been a really exciting part of what I get to do. Some of the examples of the fun things that we've been able to do through the residency have been to work with students in London schools to improve their information literacy and get them to think about where the information that they access online comes from and why certain things might be omitted based on, whose knowledge gets shared the most frequently and what they can do about that. So, how they can evaluate sources, but also when they notice that something's missing and someone's not represented who should be, how they can feel empowered to change that and do something about it. So we've done lots and lots of workshops now with school students to look at women in STEM and help them to do queries to find women in STEM fields, to inspire them, and then to do a bit of editing to add even more information to what's there already. And it's really, really exciting seeing their faces light up and them reading the pages or the Wikidata entries gives them the chance to find commonalities with these inspiring scientists and say, oh, that's like me, maybe I can do this. So it's not just about increasing the representation here and now, it's about inspiring these young people so that the field is more diverse in the future as well. And that's been fantastic to work on.
What would be most valuable to you to help your project to expand or increase its impact?
It's hard to say what would be the most useful thing to expand the impact. It's not necessarily about being bigger, I don't think, for us. It's more about sustainability and how we can keep momentum going and make sure that people feel supported to keep going, and not just do bigger and bigger events, but make sure that once people are trained, they feel comfortable to keep editing and supported by a community that they feel reflects them and their needs. So having friendly wiki editors when people first start editing has been so important, I've found, to keeping them active as editors and editing on a wider range of topics as they grow in confidence. I think also there's the issue around people being a bit cautious about sharing information and sharing things that can then be used on Wikipedia. So I think one of the barriers that we often come up against when we're trying to increase the representation of women is that there aren't images that are copyright free or that have been released on a license that we can use on the page to make it really visually engaging, or that they're very, very well known within their sphere in industry, but there aren't very many biographies written about them, so there aren't the sources to then base a Wikipedia article on, and they're at risk of being very well known in their lifetime and then disappearing from view once they die and memory of their incredible contribution fades. So as well as training people how to edit, I think there's a lot of advocacy that needs to be done around making sure that women doing incredible work, particularly in industry where they don't need to constantly be speaking to the press and getting research funding as academics do, I think that that's something that it would be great if we can do more of, to sort of make sure that in the future things are better as well.
What are you most proud of?
I don't know if it'll sound really lame, but I'm trying to claim credit for them. I'm absolutely not, but I'm probably most proud of the people who I've trained then going on to initiate incredible projects and just do more and more, and seeing them stay active in Wiki. So Jess Wade is incredible, prolific, wonderful, inspirational, and has enabled me to do so much more, and I love working with her still, and I find her just an inspirational person to be with, doing Wiki stuff. There are also other Wikimedians who I've trained, and then I don't realise that they've continued editing in the same way that they have until I find them popping up as trainers elsewhere, which is really amazing. One person who I trained just got really into it in a wonderful way, that sort of baffled her teenage children who were surprised that their mum was suddenly, attached to her phone and as obsessed with the internet as they were. But she was a major contributor to the pages about COVID before any of us had even heard of it, and it was on our radar. So I think the thing that I'm most proud of is being able to give people who are so incredible an entryway into engaging with Wikipedia and doing the awesome things that they're now doing. Yeah, that's it.